Now, the one thing you don't want to bet on is the Hawks because we just don't know, people. We just don't know if the Hawks are
Keep
going
it
to
the funky
hawk.
today.
Yeah, we don't know if they're going to hawk. Oh, we don't know if they're going to show the best example of themselves. So,
Oh
you
man.
guys know that we love to tell you about the good, the bad, and the ugly when the situation arises. And Jarvis, I would say what we saw in San Antonio on Sunday is a situation that rises to the occasion of talking good, bad, and ugly. But in all fairness, we will start out with the good. We'll go ahead and be what day
Yeah.
ATL day ones is. We're a positive, optimistic camp
Fair and
over here.
balanced.
So yeah, Hawks beat the Warriors Friday night. Solid win. What was the best thing you saw in it? What was the good that you saw in Friday? Or if you happen to see any good on Sunday, Jarvis, you can roll with that too.
Oh no, it was nothing good about Sunday, so I'll just start with Friday. The fact that Trey Young, we talked about this going into this game on Friday as well, about how Trey's steals have gone up like in a nice at a nice tick. But for him to be able to get that steal at the end of the game, towards the end of the game in the fourth quarter,
Mhm.
I feel like that kind of says something about him being locked in and being committed to this new regime and saying, hey, I'm going to step my game up. I'm going to prove that, hey, I want to take this thing to another level. So yeah, I think the good thing for me was definitely seeing Trey Young out there playing some good defense. And I got to give the man the credit when the credit's due. John Collins in the first quarter, where he had, like, I think I text you, where he was like
17?
17
Yeah.
points in the first quarter, and
Right.
there's still like 2 to 3 minutes left in that quarter. So I think that, and then Golden State got off to a really, really hot start as well. So for them
Mhm.
to sustain and weather the storm, so to speak, and be able to come back like that, I think that was definitely two things that just really stood out to me off the bat.
Yeah, and I'll give you that. I think that I would co-sign on that. And we also talked about the fact that, hey, you don't have Draymond Green in the game. You don't have Kevon Looney. So go ahead and take advantage of what you can get inside. I felt like they did a solid job of that as well. So yeah, we'll
Yes.
give them good for that. Now the bad. After the Golden State game, John Collins was being interviewed on the court, and JC took it upon himself to call out the crowd for being out cheered by Warriors fans who were in the building. What made JC do that, Jarvis?
I
What made
don't
JC do
know.
that? Or
Like
say
here's
that?
here's the thing when it comes to John Collins, right? I know I'll take credit for being a little harsh on the man, but this is why I'm harsh on him, because the man is willing to, when somebody put a microphone in front of his face, he is so willing to talk every time. And my whole thing about that is, and people, and I got some comments, when I tweeted that out when I was in the arena on Friday. People were like, "Oh yeah, he's the leader. He should be saying no. He doesn't. Like, because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, like, you lost the lead in that game too.
Yes, you
Like, and
did.
we're used to seeing that. And
Yeah.
guess what has changed with this new regime, with this
Hmm.
new organization, and Steve Koonin and the likes of those people out here making these certain decisions, to where teams this Atlanta folks are coming down to an arena. They are coming down to State Farm. Like, I was talking to a season ticket holder Friday night, saying that it was 700 people in line waiting for season tickets, waiting for those people not to renew. Now, that may have been a sales pitch, but the fact that you're able to say 700 people are in line waiting for season tickets, that says a lot about what this city loves about this team. And
Hmm.
guess why they love him? Because you have a superstar in Trey Young. And now back to John. John, dude, like, people who are willing to say certain things that need to be said, they're consistent. They have the play that goes along with that. And for you to get up here and sit up here on your high horse and grab that microphone like you cutting a WWE promo, talking about all y'all fans and ATL, it don't make no sense, out cheer and all, using all these buzzwords, right? Like, I don't appreciate that. When I heard it, because I was sitting right there in the arena, most of the media had gone on down to the post-game press conference room, and I'm sitting up here like, what are you talking about? Because you're so inconsistent.
Yeah.
So why would I consistently try to out cheer super duper NBA fans who come into the arena all the time. This happens all the time, dude. Like, but the difference is the fact that people are in the arena. There are sellout crowds, and for you not to acknowledge that and then say that, hey, you being out cheered and the support and all that stuff, we ain't gonna support no inconsistent, bruh.
Right. And the
Goodness.
Warriors fans were literally just strategic. They are the same as the Heat fans because they are, to me, they're the
Same as the
most
Knicks
annoying.
fans, the
The
Bulls
Knicks fans,
fans. Like,
exactly.
come
Like
on.
those are just going to be bases that are going to be strategic. So you can't get mad at that base because that base, the minute the schedule comes out, that base goes and buys those tickets. That's just the
Absolutely.
reality. However, to your point, Jarvis, what John Collins should be more concerned about is the fact that the Hawks faithful who come out, let's say the arena fits, I don't know, 18, 21,000 people, and 70% of that is Hawks, you've got to give them something to come out for. Like we're still 35 and 36, Jarvis is 71, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
means they've got 11 games left to try to scrimp, and scrape their way out of the play-in.
Yeah.
Why are we having that conversation with 11 games left? With 11 games left, that inconsistency, the fact that a lot of people couldn't believe what they saw yesterday, but then could believe it at the same time. That's the problem with what you said, John. If the product, like you said, was consistent,
You have a
hey,
point. Yeah.
yeah, people would be in there like out, at least out cheering the Warriors fans. They already outnumber them. You
Right.
just wouldn't know sometimes when those fan bases come into the building. But you got to give them something consistent to work with because listen, what they're thinking about ahead of tomorrow's game against the Pistons, they've already forgotten what you did with the Warriors.
Yeah.
They're looking at what the ugly, the good, the bad. Now, the ugly of what you did in San Antonio is resonating
Come
with
on now.
people. So they're looking at themselves no differently than we're looking at ourselves and saying, how? How did the Hawks blow a 24-point lead that ended up being essentially a 32-point swing to the Spurs?
Yeah.
Score 83 points. 83 in the first half. And yet, here we are 24 hours later talking about it, Al. Ugly.
Yeah, super ugly. And the irony in that to come right after you make your comments, like it just speaks to the type of season this has been.
Yes,
Like from
yes.
the reports about the Trey and doggone Nate beefing and then Nick Wrestler, Tony Wrestler's son out here running things from behind the scenes and Landry Fields being a first-time GM and hiring his homeboy to be a scout. They used to be a beat writer over on the West Coast. Like, all of this stuff is just crap. It's just a whole bunch of crap that just comes to the forefront every time he opens his mouth about something or says something or somebody trying to get a story. Him being the first one to raise his hand saying, hey,
Right.
I'm willing to speak, talk to me. So
Yeah.
yeah, it just
Right.
stinks and it's straight booty, T. At the end of the day, it's booty and they play like booty as soon as he opened his mouth.
Yeah, it's so very frustrating. And then you think about how the Spurs dug their way back into it. Technically, you should be responsible for helping on the perimeter
Yeah,
because Clint Capella was fine inside, right? 12
right.
rebounds, 15 points, solid night for him. A block. He doesn't need any help on the
I mean,
interior.
typical, yeah.
What he needs is for you to go to the outside when you see Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell starting to hit threes at a clip of
Who?
67. There it is, at a clip of 67%. The Spurs squad in the third quarter, Jarvis, shot 67% from three. At what point do you not say we kind of better shore up the perimeter and like
Oh my
really, really
god.
get in their faces and contest shots? Because regardless of if they come back and beat us, that's just what you're supposed to do, whether you're the second unit in there or whether you're the first unit that's thrown back in there because they're starting to make a run at you. Almost the only way that somebody scores 67% is that they are getting free and open looks. But here's the thing, too, Jarvis. Real talk, mid range was a problem as well. 66%. in the third quarter for mid-range. So when I see that, we already know that there's a perimeter problem, right, Jarvis? We already
Oh
know
yeah, it's
perimeter
always
D
been
is an
like that.
issue.
Yeah.
But when I see 66% from the field, that's a want to. That's an effort issue. And that is what is most frustrating when we start looking at those underlying numbers and seeing how you got from a 24-point lead to an 8-point loss.
Yeah, it stinks, and only scored 30, and not only defensively, but they only scored 35 points in the
35 points in
entirety
the
of the
right.
second
Right.
half.
You
Like,
scored 20 and then had the audacity to follow that up with 15? No, sir. No,
in the
sir. No,
fourth
ma'am.
quarter,
In the
one of the
fourth
worst teams
quarter.
in the fourth
Yes.
quarter in scoring. By the way, let's go ahead
Right.
and say that. So, and it makes sense because like no lead is safe with this team.
None. Like at
No
all.
lead is safe with this team.
Yeah.
Nobody can be comfortable in the fourth quarter when the Hawks have a lead going into the fourth quarter. Nobody.
No. You should
Even
feel
the
comfortable.
players,
Right.
even the players, like,
Yeah.
oh,
You on
what we
that
gonna
other
do
team,
about this one?
however, yeah, they're and once you start giving players confidence and they feel like they're in their rhythm, I mean, they're gonna start heat checking. And if they
Yep,
start heaving them up and heat checking and the heat checks go in, oh, it's over.
it's on and
But yeah,
popping.
what we saw yesterday was absolutely ugly. So we know what you have to do. We know you got to get a Built Bar. We know you do
Absolutely,
because it's
yes.
painful for you. And you probably got to get one because your bracket is busted, right? So
Mhm.
March Madness, man, the brackets are here, but so many people's brackets have been busted. And sometimes you just need your favorite bar, your favorite puff to make it okay. So you can go to builtmarchmadness.com to vote for your favorites. And it's kind of cool because hey, at least you'll have something to say that does not make you have to worry about a team, right? And
Mhm.
whether or not they win or bust your bracket completely. So, I'll be voting for almond. I don't know if you guys know, but I like almond. And the churro is kind of intriguing to me as
Yes,
well.
it is.
So
It's
you could
great.
definitely do that. And if you want whatever team it is that you want to win. I don't have anybody in the fight, Jarvis. I don't know if you still have
I
somebody, a
don't.
dog in the race. So we
Mm-mm.
don't have a dog in the race, but if you still do, then you'll be able to vote for that bar too. You can support your team and support your bar buff at the same time. And don't forget, when you vote, you'll be entered into a drawing. Now, this to me is really cool. 50 lucky Locked On listeners will get a free box of Built. A free one? Who hates freebies? And not only that, one Locked On fan, just one, will get a 12-month subscription to Built to have Built's best bars or puffs delivered monthly straight to your door. So don't forget about the good. That's the proteins that you get, the 15 grams. Don't forget about the fat that's going away, 130 grams of fat. So you're not going to be doing anything bad to yourself. 4 grams of sugar, 100% real chocolate. You cannot beat it. But don't forget, go to builtmarchmadness.com right now, or at least after this show, to vote.